Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Hosting Service Provider Webcast, Conversation Number 2, System Center, Accelerating Growth in the Hybrid Cloud. My name is Mark Reno. I'm the principal of HSP's marketing support agency, Merit Mile. Along with my colleagues, including Robert Hoyer, who's on the call today, I'd like to ensure everyone, including all frontline sellers, have a firm grasp on today's System Center content. And should anyone need any additional support, perhaps beyond the presentation contents, we're going to share an email alias with you for additional Q&A as necessary. As you may have seen in our communications, we'll be giving away an Amazon gift card to one lucky random drawing winner from today's series of webcasts. And to be eligible, you simply need to give us a little bit of feedback in the form of a survey response that we'll circulate a link for toward the end of the presentation today as well. Now, without further delay, I'd like to introduce our hosting service provider host today, Director of Business Strategy, Adam Bogobovich. Adam?
Mark, thank you, and good morning, good afternoon, everybody. If you've participated in our previous conversation, I'm going to do a little bit of introduction into the overall concept of the 12 conversations, just to give you a sense of what we are building for you and what these conversations are all about. And then we'll follow up with a little deeper dive into this conversation number 2, focused on System Center, and specifically of how System Center can enable your service providers to build new services and extend their business into the hybrid cloud, and with that build new revenue stream, which you as the resellers, suppliers for those service providers would capture as a licensing revenue. I'll talk about the content that I have you to introduce the System Center conversation for the service provider, as well as walk you through some additional content, which is a great leave behind for them. So with that, let me first walk you through this overall flow of the conversations that we have for you. The 12C, the 12 Conversations program, is a very a well-planned month-to-month rhythm that we are introducing for you. Our first conversation already happened. It was focused on economic value of CPS. And you will have access to this conversation. It has been recorded and the content is available for you. And by the way, I'm getting a little bit of echo. Mark, could you please mute our participant so we don't need to, I don't need to remind him to go on mute. Thank you so much. So going back to and we have a comment that somebody's not able to hear us. I think it was from Deepesh. Deepesh, can you already hear us, or are you still not able to hear this? Not able to hear me?
Stand by, Adam. I can hear you fine. I'm going to go into the settings.
Okay, so we have some
yes. If everyone
here.
would just stand by for 30 seconds, and we'll take a look at the settings. Thank you.
Okay. There must have been a special setting to mute the speaker and let everybody else be unmuted. Let's see if we can fix it. And once you can hear me, please type in the IM that I'm back on and that you can hear the conversation. And I see somebody typing, which probably means that, okay, very good. So I think we are, Mark, I think we are back in business here.
All right, Adam, I just suggest go ahead and just recap right from the beginning. And it seems as though some people have been able to hear the whole time as well. So
yeah, there must have been something on the internet side of the technology. So I will start actually from this slide. I won't go back because this really is the place to start this dialogue. And what I was walking you through is the fact that the 12 Conversations is a month-to-month, very well and structured program, which introduces a conversation per month. And we've already done one. We've already introduced economic value of CPS conversation in November, focused on a licensing concept called CPS, and all the relevant pieces of that first conversation, including a recording of a webinar, are available to you. You can pick it up at any time and leverage. Now, this conversation is focused on System Center, and that's what you will hear for the next 45 minutes. In the following conversations, which will be delivered in the early January, will focus on productivity. And you should expect these to continue. You should expect every month to have a chunk of content from us, and therefore to capture those new pieces of content and be ready for those next conversations every month for the following year, January, February, March, and so on. So that's the level of predictability that we are building in a system here. Now, just to know why, just to give you a sense of why we are doing this. So we're not only giving you content and the conversation, but we also want to give you a set of insights that will put you in a position to have a meaningful dialogue with your partners. A little, data points that will give you a position and a level of confidence to have a transformational discussion with your partner. Something that can give you a ability to not only to pitch this initial conversation, but also build a relationship with a partner through the follow-up content you can deliver to them. So with that, let me introduce the conversation number 2. As I mentioned, and some of you might have not heard that at the beginning, since we are having some technical problems, this one will be focused on System Center, but a very particular way of thinking about System Center as a technology. We are looking for System Center ability to influence and build new hybrid services for your partners, which is different than introducing just a piece of software, because this is how your partners will be able to build new revenue streams and therefore build the revenues that you are collecting as our partner as well. So here's the basic concept behind System Center in this scenario. As you may know, our main value proposition from Microsoft is that we are the only company that can provide to our customers a choice of clouds that they can leverage for their IT needs. We support on-premises cloud, which is the cloud built by our enterprise and SMB customers. But we also provide Microsoft Cloud, Azure, and Office 365, and then, of course, a hosted cloud, which you provide and you support through your services, and your customers, our partners, support through their services. Now, System Center plays a critical role here, because System Center is a unified management platform across these 3 different clouds. Now, the way you can think about it, and actually the way to very simply communicate this concept to your customers when you make your pitch and introduce System Center, is to talk about System Center as a glue that connects these 3 separate clouds together. Now, when you think about this idea, it's actually much more powerful and deeper than just the silly analogy of a glue. The hybrid services is really what, to deliver on hybrid services and to deliver on those new services, you really need to stitch together different clouds. You need to provide an admin experience across the clouds, and a developer experience. And there's just no way to do this without having that a component in the middle, in this case, a System Center in the middle. And therefore, the System Center is a critical enabler for your partners to be able to move their business forward and profit with their business in this new world of the cloud. So very critical to their business, and absolutely critical as a result of it to your business. So who do you approach with the System Center conversation? And here you have to look at partners that want to go beyond where they are today. partners that either need to do this because they are looking for a differentiated offers, and they do so because their existing business is being impacted by the new price structure that the public cloud creates for them, or by competition, but also partners that need to look for new customers, new type of business, and new revenue streams. So really, this is a conversation for your innovative partners that are looking forward into a new business and new opportunities. Now, the next, I'm going to walk you now through a series of deliverables that we have for you to make that pitch and introduction of System Center to your partners easy. And I will do this based on this idea that you see on this slide, this concept of a very programmatic approach to a pitch. So this actually is a piece of content that we have available for you. And what I was trying to do here is give you the right pieces of content and the right language to introduce those separate components of the conversation to your partner. So you can start with a set of qualifying questions, making sure that you are talking to a partner that would respond correctly to the System Center value proposition. Then I'm going and giving you pieces of data that you can use to teach your partner about things that they may not yet know about, the changes in the market, how these changes in the market are impacting their business, and data points you can use to move them towards sale and towards the implementation of hybrid services. Then comes the proof points, a way for us and for you to answer customer questions and make sure that you go beyond the story and provide them with data elements and more complete story about why we believe this the System Center makes a difference for their business and how it'll help them grow the business and in this case actually also lower the cost of the business. And then beyond the basic pitch and the initial conversation, how to extend this dialogue with the customer with a follow-up that will allow them to go into a deeper research and understand of what it is that they need to do to succeed with System Center. So that's the script and a flow. In this conversation, we also have a tele-discussion guide for you, something that's very easy to print and hang on a cubicle. It takes this set of the flow that I just walked you through and makes it even easier for you and for your sellers to understand, asks the basic questions that helps you set up the conversation, discusses the hybrid cloud. And again, what it really does is gives you the language that you can use to very effectively engage in a conversation with the customer. Now, there's this whole idea here of new things that you want your partner to do, your customer to do, create new services, new experiences, talk to new audiences, be able to offer them new prices. And again, what I'm doing here is giving you the language for you to be able to express these new things in context of System Center and hybrid cloud and correctly position it for your partner. And finally, and this is as deep as I want to take you into the System Center technology, I actually broke System Center into a series of scenarios that resonate with your partners and specifically resonate with hosters. So, for example, the scenario one here is called rich content manageability with WAP. So that scenario is something that allows you to express the value of Windows Azure Pack and System Center without going into the discussion of the bits and bytes of the actual technology. And I'm giving you questions that you can ask the partner to see if the scenario would resonate with them. So in this case, do you have customers using the public cloud? If they are using the public cloud, then their expectations for how they are managing their environments is now much different than was before, richer. And to meet those set of requirements with your hosting environment as a partner, you need technologies like System Center and Windows Azure Pack. And that language is something you can now use with your partner to introduce System Center to them. There are 6 of these scenarios, so you will see 6 of these questions ready for you, again with a follow-up language to engage your customer in a conversation. So now there was a pitch, you're able to go and have a phone call or a conversation with the partner, introduce the basic concept, then the premise, ask the right questions, maybe even have the enough dialogue with the customer to understand which of these scenarios they fit in. What will come next, of course, is that the customer will want to do some independent thinking, and for that you want to provide them with a leave behind. So what we have for you is a data sheet. It effectively collapsed this conversation into a 4-page document. It gives the customer a core set of data points, which you've mentioned, and now they can read about and explore. It also introduces all of the scenarios, so now they can reference the one you discussed with them and give them some context also into the references and the case studies that we have available for them. And those references, by the way, is the key leave behind that I have for you to follow up with. So following the initial pitch and the data sheet, I've selected 3 case studies for you to leverage directly as the proof point as a follow-up. First one is a company called Icula, and it's interesting because this company did exactly what I was describing before. This company is building business across all of the 3 clouds, using System Center as a glue to pull those services together. The second case study is from a company called Tieto, and this one is important because this case study specifically notes the growth that the company was able to achieve as a result of using System Center and hybrid services, and that's the 50% that you see here. And finally, a third case study is very relevant because it brings together the savings story that you may already know from our first conversations on CPS, but it brings them here in context of System Center and hybrid services. So the company that's mentioned here, called Uber Global, was able to save 90% of their costs, licensing costs, by leveraging this particular licensing type called CPS, but also by implementing System Center as a management framework to be able to effectively and efficiently manage their infrastructure. So now stepping back, we've pitched the basic value proposition of System Center and hybrid cloud. You guys were able to give the first leave behind data sheet to your partner, either as a PDF or as a printed document. We had a follow-up conversations on the proof points, where you could pick one of these case studies, or, by the way, I have another series of 7 case studies for you to pick from if they are more relevant from your geo perspective. And then, of course, the conversation is going to come to some back and forth, some pushbacks. So you may hear you may hear some objections from your customers as this conversation is advancing. So one that I thought would be most relevant for you to know is the one that comes to the fact that most of the hosters and yours and our partners are leveraging both Linux workloads and Windows workloads, or selling both of these operating systems on their infrastructure. And you may hear from them that they don't believe that System Center will do a good enough job managing the Linux part of their business. So here, to overcome their objection, I have a video for you and some additional content to be able to give them a level of confidence that System Center is the right set of technology, not only to handle their Windows business, but also to extend it into what they may already have as the Linux and open source component of their hosting business. And what I would like you to do now is, given that the life is an open book test, there's no reason to learn all of this by heart. And all this content is available to you to leverage, to print, and and to use as you are having these conversations. So I would like you to go to this URL, which is the place where all this content is available, and give it a try. I'll wait 30 seconds here and provide some narrative as you do the clicking, and let me know if you can reach it. And if not, you can either send an email to the alias spla@meritmile.com, or simply IM us on this conversation and let us know that you could not access this content, and we'll try to quickly fix that issue for you. So let me know if you're already clicking. It's not very long URL, so it should be okay. mm-stats.com / and then Mark, is it
7L0RK.
7L0RK. And I'm waiting for somebody to tell me if they did or did not enter to it, so I know that you are all on the same task with me. I don't have any jokes today, so you gotta just click on it, type it in, and let me know that you are in, so I don't have to kill the dead time on the mic for you. Okay, very good. I got somebody typing in their outcome of their first attempt. Okay, yes, if you would like to get the permissions, you can either, and thank you for trying, you can either email splat@meritmile.com or just type in your email address right now in the IM and we'll do it for you. And yeah, we'll let other folks do the same thing. And thank you. Thank you for the email address. When you do this, when you get to this share, it will effectively is a share with a set of content, and you will see something like this. You will see for the data sheet, you will see that it comes as a PowerPoint, a printable document, and a sendable document with all the pieces that I just discussed. And thank you all for typing your email addresses. This will make it easier for us to quickly give you access to it. And Mark, thank you for following up. Okay, so with you getting access to the share and all the content, what I would like to do now is something different. So I will effectively do the System Center pitch for you. I won't do it exactly as I would do to a partner. I'll do an abbreviated version of it. I don't think you need to hear me do it, but I'll provide some additional commentary on what it is that I am, what do I mean by the different pieces of the content that I present and what it is that you will see on slide. So you have that additional commentary. I think it will help you pitch it when you approach your customers with it. So here it goes. It comes with some initial pre-slides. I will skip those. They effectively introduce the conversation and talk about the agenda. But here's the main premise behind the pitch. If I was approaching a partner, I would be telling them that there's a fundamental change happening right now in the hosting market, and that change requires for a partner to grow, requires a fundamental change of the business. And there's more than just one thing happening. There's the growth of the public cloud, which is the fundamental change, but it comes with so many more variables that you as a service provider have to consider. There's the sheer volume and the size of the public cloud. There is the new type of services that the public cloud provides. There's a level of innovation and the rate of change that it creates. And in addition to this, there's also pricing pressure that never existed before that a public cloud creates. In many ways, the public cloud commoditizes services that we used to be able to, or the hosting providers used to be able to fully monetize. It's no longer possible in many cases, or at least the profitability of the hosting business is impacted by that change. So we have to leave this legacy behind. But to move forward, we have to build new services and new experiences and new audiences and reach new audiences with our services. And if you recall the pieces of content that I was walking you through before, now you will know why I was referring those new services and new experiences. Now, in addition to this, to be profitable, hosters have to provide these services at low cost and at the quality that would be relevant and in context of the quality that the public cloud can provide. And of course, what hosters do has to be automated. Otherwise, it's just inefficient and doesn't meet the requirements of our customers. Now, there are customers that already do this, and here you will notice that I'm leveraging those 3 case studies that I just walked you through, because that's my proof points to the fact that you can already do this. So you can already do this. There are companies like Icula that can provide services across 3 clouds. Tieto that was able to grow 50% with hybrid cloud and System Center. And Uber Global that was able to save 90% of their costs by leveraging System Center and the new licensing types that we can offer to them. And they do this because they're able to leverage this new multi-cloud management framework and the glue that System Center provides. And on this slide, there's a little bit more depth that you can leverage if you so choose. So here I not only talk about the System Center, but the fact that it's self-service aware, application aware, multi-tenant ready, scalable and automated. And depends on who you pitch it to and how much of a technical conversation you want, you can get a little deeper into what it means for a provider. What does it mean that the System Center is multi-tenant ready? There's a slightly more depth here. And finally, here is a place where I would like you to tell a story to a service provider, hopefully from your region and your own experience of what it meant for the System Center to add value to a service provider business. So I'm going to give you this particular story that I'm using, and you're welcome to leverage it or use the one that you already know. But here is an example. So this particular customer that this picture represents, it was a fairly large hoster, managing approximately 500 server nodes and serving many customers, including one running high-performance computing. And what was happening in this data center that there were periods when the performance of the overall data center would rapidly deteriorate for all customers, and they couldn't figure out what was going on. There wasn't a systematic thing that they could identify just by looking into the available tools and understanding who the customers that they were serving, who they were. Their solution to this problem was implementation of System Center, and in this specific case System Center Operations Manager, to get better insight into the performance of the hardware, the VMs, and then the applications running on those systems. What they've discovered is that the HPC system, high performance compute system that they were running there, was actually overheating, which by itself wouldn't be an issue because it would be only relevant to that particular system. But what they discovered is that the heat generated by that HPC set of nodes was actually was spreading and impacting nodes that were surrounding that particular set of servers. And there was no way to tell this other than looking at those broader systematic set of metrics that System Center was able to provide. So once they identified the issue, which was the dissipation of the heat from a particular customer, they were able to solve the problem, isolate those particular nodes, and effectively make the 500 server node data center healthy again, just by having better intelligence on the operations of that data center. So again, you don't have to use this particular story, but a story in this moment of the pitch is a very effective way to communicate the value of System Center and the value of hybrid services and your value as a trusted advisor for a service provider. And then my next point is, and these three partners are not the only one doing this. There's many other service providers that are taking advantage of System Center. And this actually is a very small list. It's just a list of the case studies that I have ready for you that are System Center specific. But at this point, there is over 100 service providers running Microsoft Cloud OS, which of course comes with System Center, and therefore includes this value proposition. So the close of this pitch is, so what do you do next? The next step for you is to work with us as a SPLAR and either a system integrator that we have for you or the systems integrator that Microsoft has already trained to implement System Center and deploy hybrid services and grow your business. Okay, so that's the pitch. And we've been, you guys been really good IMing. So I would like to spend the next few minutes with you giving us or asking me questions and about the pitch. So let's try to experiment. We haven't done it on a previous conversation, but I think this was a lively enough crowd for us to do it. So let me give it about 30 seconds, and if you have questions or comments on the pitch, shoot it out. I know it may take a moment, and I will try to answer your questions. And thank you for typing it in. And I'll give it a few more seconds. I know the folks are still typing. I can't see your initial, I can't see the beginning of the typing, so I don't know what it is, but please do ask me questions. At the same time, I know that Mark already sent out invitations for the SharePoint, so all of you should be receiving the rights to access if you don't already have it. Well, either I'm getting a really long question. It is a long. Okay, thank you so much. So let me read it for everybody. I tried pitching System Center to a hoster who's already on a third-party public cloud. He wants to know how he can license System Center if the physical CPU count is unavailable. Oh, that's an interesting one. The local SS advised that we may have to get an exception for such a scenario. Okay, that's a tough one. Mark, do you have an insight into the counting, or do we need to take this one back to our licensing specialist and Matt?
Yeah, I think our licensing team would probably be best suited to handle that one.
Yeah, because I'm thinking on my feet here how to handle this, but it's a tough one because if you cannot count the CPU, you cannot correctly license for System Center. So if you're not doing it right, it clearly creates a risk for the partner. Let me take this one and run it by Michael and our licensing folks.
I believe he joined us earlier this morning. Unfortunately, he's not with us this evening. And the interesting part of this question is the CPU count is unavailable.
And correct. No, it's asking for exceptions every single time is not the right way to do it. Actually, let me do this. I'll take it as you've typed in here in the IM. But if you can email me with this question and additional details, then I can do a better job answering it for you. And I think we have an email for you, correct? Let me just go up here, Gaurav.
Yes.
Okay, we do. Perfect. So even if you don't send me an email, I'll create an email myself. But if you send an email to me, and by the way, my email address is adambo@microsoft.com, or you can use the Mark's email as well. Then with additional context, then we'll be able to answer it in more depth. Thank you. Okay, any other questions? And I'll give it just 5 seconds at this point. If I see somebody typing in, I will stop.
Looks like we might have one more.
No, and okay. I think we're good. Okay, so with that, then I'm going to turn it back to Mark.
Well, thank you, Adam, and thank you for presenting a bulk of the contents today. The System Center opportunity is a differentiator for the partner community, and as such, it's a differentiator for resellers managing them. As a final request, we ask you to take a couple of additional steps. We've talked a lot about the contents today. We'd like to get your hands on those contents sooner than later. If you don't have it already, over the next few minutes, you should be getting an email from us with granting you those rights to the SharePoint. So you're only a matter of minutes away from being able to access those materials. Equally as important is your feedback. These webcasts are an important part of our communications pipeline. They're also important to us from a reception standpoint. We want to know how we're doing. We want to know if the level of the guidance is what you expected and what you need. If it's perhaps too technical, or if it's not technical enough. Those are the types of questions that and bits of feedback that will be very helpful for us as we move forward with these conversations down the line. As such, if you could take a few minutes, fill out that survey. Anyone that provides us with their email address in the survey responses will be eligible in the random drawing for a $250 Amazon gift card, and that's mm-stats.com/V as in Victor, Q, G as in George, and the number 6. We will, of course, send a post-webcast follow-up email with these links that will be immediately clickable within an email, so you don't have to write these down or try to do a screen capture in this online setting. Once again, we thank you for your time and your participation. If you have any additional questions, please email us at the alias below, and we will be certainly happy to respond in a timely manner. Adam, Robert, thank you for your time this evening. I'm going to go ahead and discontinue the recording at this time. Thank you, everyone.